Hello, my friends. Good evening. This is Tausif starting a live stream to talk about election 2026. Election 2026 is something that we're going to be talking about a lot, hopefully, between now and November 2026. My friends, I know that a lot of you encouraged me to discuss the different races taking place in different states. There's a lot going on as we look at 2026 November. Obviously, all the um, all the seats in the House are up for re-election. Obviously, because each House term is 2 years. So whether it's a presidential year or a midterm year, there are House races all over the country. And then Senate races, there are some key Senate races and gubernatorial races in different states. My friends, today what we're going to talk about is the US Senate race in Kentucky. Now, if anyone here is from Kentucky, please participate in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, I am not in Kentucky. I've been to Kentucky. It's a beautiful state. It's a beautiful state. I actually went to Kentucky on the way to Nashville, Tennessee. That's the route I took from Wisconsin to Nashville, Tennessee, drove through Kentucky. Beautiful state. I have not seen all parts of Kentucky, but I know it is a beautiful state. And we're going to be talking about Kentucky. My friends, let me start with a question. Can we safely assume that we, the Republicans, will win the U.S. Senate race in Kentucky? Can you make that assumption? Can you say, Tausif, yes, we will win the U.S. Senate race in Kentucky? Anyone here? Can you guarantee? My friends, that election, that Senate race, that election will be held in November of 2026. Now, I asked you a question. As you are thinking about it, I want to move forward with the discussion. Who are the two U.S. senators in Kentucky? There's Rand Paul. Rand Paul is the junior U.S. senator from Kentucky. And the senior senator from Kentucky is Mitch McConnell. And as you already know, Mitch McConnell also served as the Senate Majority Leader in the past. And he's the senior senator from Kentucky. Now, Senator Mitch McConnell has decided not to seek re-election. Okay? I think that decision makes sense, given the fact that he is quite old, and also we can see the obvious signs of aging. All right, not everyone ages the same way. All right, I mean, you may be 70 years old and extremely fit. Maybe you jog every day. You're working out. You're 70 years old and you're still very fit, and you don't need any prescription medications. You stay healthy. You have a healthy diet. I mean, that could be one case. And then the other case would be, 70-year-old with lots of different illnesses, lots of medical conditions, not physically active, not in the best health. Okay. And then, anything in between. So, when you look at health, it doesn't always correlate with age. Okay, you could be a young person and not in good health. You could be a senior citizen in great health. Each human being is different. Like, you look at President Donald J. Trump, he's also quite elderly, obviously. If 65 is what you consider to be like elderly, if you're going to use that age, some people use the age 55, but let's say 65, all right? If you're 65, you're a senior. Anything over 65, you're just older and older and older. You look at Donald J. Trump. How old is Donald Trump? Let's see. How old is Donald Trump? Donald Trump is 79 years old, okay? But you look at him and you see how fit he is, how strong, how sharp. He's 79 years old. He's going to be 80 years old soon, next summer in 2026. But he's extremely sharp. He's fit. He's doing so many meetings, so many events, so many speeches, and he's just in extremely good health. But then not every 79-year-old is as fit as Donald Trump. So, I mean, when we're talking about Senator McConnell, Mitch McConnell is 83 years old. So he is older than Donald J. Trump. But the thing that we have seen, we have noticed, we have observed about Senator McConnell is that he had, what I would consider age-related, perhaps, health problems, okay? And we have seen, and there are different instances, we have seen obvious signs of aging. And people have been concerned about Senator Mitch McConnell's health for a while. It was just a couple of months ago when Senator McConnell had a fall. I don't know if you've seen that video. There were reporters around, so it was all caught on video. And I saw that video, and I was so worried. I was worried, and all I could think of is I wish Senator McConnell, speedy recovery, good health, stable health, because that video was pretty shocking. He fell, and it was caught on camera, and this happened at the U.S. Capitol, and it was very sad to see that. So, one thing I will tell you, and one thing I would, I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna pray for Senator McConnell's stable health, and I encourage you all to do the same. Okay. So let's pray for his stable health. And so, given all that, I think Mitch McConnell made the right decision in choosing to retire from Congress. Okay, he spent many years in public service, and now I think he made the right decision to retire from Congress. And so, coming to the main point, there's going to be an open seat in Kentucky, and it's pretty logical to hope that we will be able to hold on to that Senate seat. I think it's pretty logical. Because what would you say Kentucky is? Do you think Kentucky is a red state? Do you think it's a blue state? Do you think it's a purple state? I think it is a red state. And I asked that question, how would you describe Kentucky politically? And the choices are red state, blue state, purple state. And most people have said red state, which I agree with. It is a red state. And if you look at the November 2024 presidential election results, okay, President Donald J. Trump won the state of Kentucky. And do you know what percentage of the votes President Trump received in Kentucky? Can anyone give me that number? Don't look it up. Just make a guess. Just make a guess. November 2024. I'm telling you, Donald Trump won Kentucky, but do you know what percentage of the votes he got? Did he get 49%, 50%, 51%, 60%, 65, 70, 80? Anyone? Make a guess. I'm going to give you maybe 30 more seconds before I give you the answer. All right, let's see. Let's see. Anyone? I see some guesses. All right. Okay, let me tell you. Donald Trump received 64.6% of the votes. So Kamala Harris got 33.9%. Trump got 64.6. Kamala Harris got 33.9. So this is pretty cool. I mean, almost 2/3 of the votes Donald Trump got from Kentucky. And therefore, it is pretty logical to hope that we, the Republicans, will be able to hold on to that Senate seat, the seat from which Mitch McConnell is retiring. But my friends, I've always said something, and I'll say it again. This is something that I've said many times in politics. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee in politics. We cannot take things for granted. Keep in mind that the Democrats, the people on the left, they are highly motivated. Their focus is on securing the majority in Congress. The Democrats, the people on the left, they want to get control of the United States House of Representatives. They want to get control of the United States Senate. And so the Democrats are laser focused on that. And you know what? The Democrats, their ultimate goal is to prevent the Trump administration from fulfilling the agenda, the America First agenda. My friends, the next presidential election is in 2028. 2028. Do you think 2028 is far away? Would you say, oh, 2028 is far, far away? We got years left. I mean, can you remember 2015 when Donald Trump first announced that he's running for president? Anyone here? Do you remember 2015? How long ago was that, my friends? Why don't you answer that question? Z remembers that. Anyone else? Do you remember when President Trump first made the announcement that he is running for president? I'm not even talking about election night 2016. I'm going back further, 2015, when he first announced that he's running. That was more than 10 years ago. That's right. That was 2015, and we got 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. It was more than 10 years ago. Salerno remembers it, Z remembers it, and I know there are others who remember it very, very clearly. So time went by in the wink of an eye. Here we are at the end of 2025. We're entering 2026. So do you think 2028 is that far away? It'll be here before you know it. And so the next presidential election is in 2028, although it may seem far away, it's really not. And there's a lot that President Donald J. Trump has to get done between now and the end of this term. He has to get a lot of things done. I know you are enjoying the accomplishments so far. I know you're saying Tausif. In less than a year, President Donald J. Trump has accomplished so much. We are so happy. We are so grateful. We feel very, very optimistic. We know there are great days ahead of us. You know, it's good to be happy. It's good to be optimistic. It's good to be hopeful. That's all great. But keep in mind that to get things done, President Donald J. Trump needs cooperation from the House and from the Senate. And President Trump can get the cooperation from the House and from the Senate if the House remains in Republican control, if the Senate remains in Republican control. If the Democrats regain control of the House, if the Democrats regain control of the Senate, then what the Democrats are going to do is they're going to spend all their time and energy in trying to slow down the progress that the Trump administration is making. That's why I have always emphasized the importance of having Republican majorities in the House and in the Senate. And I said that before the November 2024 election. I said it's not okay to simply win the White House. You gotta keep control of the House. You gotta win back the Senate. I said that. Do you remember that? I did so many live streams and I highlighted, hey, we gotta elect Donald Trump, but we also have to keep control of the House. We also have to win back the Senate. Did I not say that? Do you remember anyone here who can say Tausif? Yes, you did say that. I remember. And we are thankful, we are grateful that we have Republican majority in the House, that we have Republican majority in the Senate. And that is why the One Big Beautiful Bill was approved and signed into law. How do you think that happened, the One Big Beautiful Bill? Do you think it would be signed into law if the House had a Democrat majority, if the Senate had a Democrat majority? Do you think that we could ever get the One Big Beautiful Bill approved and signed into law? And that's why it is important to hold on to the Republican majority in Congress and to expand the majority. But listen, even with the Republican majority in the House and the Republican majority in the Senate, it is not always easy to get everything that the Trump administration wants because of differences of opinions. You can see that especially in the House, where we have a very, very slim majority. So if there's a if a few GOP House members disagree with the rest of the caucus, let's say there's a legislation in Congress that President Trump supports, that most Republicans support, but then you got a few House members who say, no, we are not ready to vote for that. What happens then? The work doesn't get done because of the slim majority. If all the Democrats are opposed to a legislation, all the Democrats are opposed, most Republicans are for, and then a few Republicans are opposed, then nothing gets done. The bill does not get approved in the House, and it doesn't become law. So having a slim majority can be very, very challenging. So my point is that a slim House majority can make things very, very difficult for the Republicans, as we have already seen. And same with the Senate. While we do have a Republican majority in the Senate, it's not a very big majority. And we have seen how a vote can end up in a 50-50, even with 53 Senate seats that the Republicans have. A vote can end up being 50-50, and then the vice president has to come and do the tiebreaker vote. And the Democrats know all this. The Democrats know all this, which is why they're desperate to shrink our majority even more. The Democrats are going into 2026 saying that the Republicans have 53 seats in the Senate. How can we reduce that number? How can we take some seats away from the Republicans? That's what the Democrats are thinking right now. They want to see the number go down from 53 to 52 or 51 or 50 or 49. What happens then? If we, the Republicans, lose Senate seats, if the Democrats are making gains, then we lose the majority. We cannot allow that to happen. The Democrats want to snatch the Senate majority from us. We can never let that happen, my friends. We cannot, because if that happens, then the America First agenda will not move forward. My friends, let me tell you something. There's a particular seat in mind. There's a particular seat in the Democrats' minds, a Senate seat that they are targeting. A Senate seat that the Democrats want to snatch away from us. It's the Senate seat in Kentucky. Do not assume that this will be a guaranteed victory for us, the Republicans. Do not assume that because Kentucky is a red state that we're definitely going to be able to hold on to the Senate seat. Do not make any assumptions, because like I said before, there are no guarantees in politics. No matter how much you try to predict what's going to happen, there's no way to know. That's politics. Unpredictable. Unpredictable, my friends. Don't forget that in that very state that you are calling a red state, a Republican state, in that very state, there is now a Democrat governor. How did that happen? He's serving in his second term. I'm talking about Andy Beshear. I'm sure you've heard that name. Andy Beshear. I still cannot figure out how a Democrat was elected the governor in a red state like Kentucky. And he is now in his second term. My point is, Republicans have lost statewide races in Kentucky. Andy Beshear got elected governor. Then Andy Beshear got re-elected governor, Democrat governor. And even before Andy Beshear became the governor, he was the attorney general. So the governor is a statewide office. The attorney general is a statewide office. How did Andy Beshear manage all that? How did he manage to become the attorney general? How did he manage to become the governor and then be re-elected being a Democrat in a red state? So don't be too confident about Kentucky. Don't be too confident. It's important to work hard. This is going to be a very critical race, very important race that is coming up. The Senate race in Kentucky. Do not take things for granted. Do not be comfortable just because it's a red state. No. Look at Andy Beshear's electoral victories. The Republicans have lost statewide races in Kentucky in the past. And that is why I want people to take this matter very, very seriously. My friends, whatever I said so far, does it make sense to you? Have you been thinking about Kentucky the way I have been thinking about that state? Have you been paying attention? Have you been keeping track of the Senate race? Let me know, my friends. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. I have a lot more to talk about. So stay here with me. And please like the video if you want to be a part of this community and support this channel. Let me know. My friends, here's what's going on. I'm going to give you the current state. There are multiple candidates running for Senate from the GOP. So we have a primary situation. Do you think that's a good thing? There's an open seat in a red state, a seat that is currently held by a Republican who is not seeking re-election, so it's an open seat. And from the Republican Party, we have multiple candidates running, which means they're engaged in a primary battle. Do you think it's a good thing? I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the live chat, my friends. I always look forward to your meaningful comments. By writing your comments in the live chat, you're helping build a stronger community that we have here. I want to ask you, anyone from Kentucky watching this? Anyone from Kentucky, once again? Anyone from Kentucky watching this? Give me a second here. So there's a primary because multiple GOP candidates are running. There's Congressman Andy Barr, who is running for that seat. There's former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron, who's also running. There's a businessman named Nate Morris, who's also running from the GOP. And out of these candidates from the GOP side, the only person I have personally met is Daniel Cameron. I met him. He visited Wisconsin before the 2024 presidential election. He came here to speak at an event, at a Republican Party event, in support of Donald J. Trump. So I have met him, and it is good to see that Daniel Cameron is leading That's according to poll results published, I believe, in October. So October poll results, obviously things change over the course of weeks and months. And in October, Daniel Cameron was leading. I don't know if he's still leading. Hopefully he is. I've met him. He's a very pleasant individual. Good speaker, solid conservative. But I have not seen any recent poll numbers. Hopefully in 2026, we'll get some more information. But I'm hoping that the Republicans can sort things out. I'm hoping that the Republicans can narrow the field to one single candidate. And, heated primaries. Primaries are good. The voters get to see multiple candidates, listen to different thoughts and opinions and viewpoints and policies and positions. And then the voters get to choose the person they like the most. But heated primaries, keep in mind, very intense primaries are not going to help us, because what happens in a primary is that the energy gets divided, the funds that are being raised, fundraising gets divided. And so it's good to narrow the field down to one candidate and put all the money, all the energy, all the efforts in supporting that single candidate. And so that's what I'm hoping, that the Republicans can sort things out and unite and support one single candidate, because this is a Senate seat that we cannot afford to lose. We cannot afford to lose. This is a race that we are going to be observing very closely. I will be doing that for sure. And I hope that you also will do the same. The Kentucky Senate race is going to be perhaps one of the most closely watched races in the country for the 2026 midterm election. That is just my viewpoint, and you can let me know what your thoughts are. All right, my friends, anything else? Any other questions you have for me? Anything you want to share? I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm probably going to wrap up this live stream. But thank you all for being here, my friends. Keep in mind that I will be doing more live streams. And so I hope you all stay connected with me. And I'll be back again very, very soon. But I hope that the information that I provided today is going to be helpful. All I'm asking is, there's a key race in Kentucky. Please pay attention. The Republicans should not take things for granted, because yes, Kentucky is a red state, but it has a Democrat governor. And in the past, we have lost statewide races. Democrats have won statewide races. They are examples. They are examples of victories on both sides. But given that Kentucky is so heavily red, I'm shocked how Andy Beshear could win the Attorney General's race and could become the governor and be reelected as the governor. So keep that in mind. And that should highlight the fact that the Republicans need to work really hard. They need to do great voter outreach. They need to do an amazing campaign to win this Senate race in Kentucky. So thank you so very much, my friends. Stay tuned. I'm going to be back again with more videos and live streams. Thank you so very much for watching, and please subscribe and stay connected. Thank you.